Hi, thank you for joining us today. My name is Ryan Flanagan. I'm the CEO of Nuanced Media. And today we're going to be answering a question that we get asked, quite frankly, pretty frequently here at Nuanced Media. And that question is, how much does it cost to redesign a website? We're going to be reviewing the three primary methods that companies go about redesigning their website. That's DIY, freelance, and agency. And we're also going to be reviewing some pros and cons and the overall pricing with those three methods. So the first thing that we need to kind of answer is, well, how much does a website cost? Well, the reality of this is it can run you hundreds to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the complexity of the website. This is very similar to asking, well, how much does a house cost? Well, it depends on your neighborhood, how many bedrooms, is the pool on the roof, a variety of things like that. So when we look at websites, there's a number of ways to go about it, but you have to take into account complexity and some other things. Some things that you should consider before beginning your website redesign process is, what are your business goals? What are you really trying to accomplish a website? What are you focusing on overall? What is the opportunity? Is there an opportunity here? Is there an opportunity for return on investment? Can you beat out your competitors? Can you strategically get ahead of them? Those are the things that you want to look at opportunity-wise. And then finally, complexity and customization. Is there HIPAA compliance? Do you need to process credit cards? Do you need to do a lot of custom development? All of these things are really going to factor into what your overall cost is going to be with the website. The first model we're going to look at here is the do-it-yourself model. So who's do-it-yourself for? Well, for very small businesses that have revenue constraints, right? That they can't, that they're starting up. I started my own company. I get it. It happens. And this is really who should consider the do-it-yourself model, as well as if you have a lot of technical expertise. If you can do it yourself and you can do it cheaply, there's nothing wrong with doing that across the board. What is the goal of the do-it-yourself? Well, typically it's a billboard website. You're not getting a lot of custom code or complexity. Really looking at something that you can kind of leverage with your existing market and your network across the board. How do you kind of have that like standard credibility with that? When we look at some of the pros and cons of pricing of this, the pros are, well, do-it-yourself, as you probably know, is affordable because you're doing it yourself. It's easy to do. There's a number of platforms, Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, that enable you to build websites relatively easily. Some of the cons with this are inability to fine-tune. You're working in a template normally. You're kind of stuck with that. In general, lost time. There's opportunity costs with that across the board. And then lack of best practices. What you don't know can hurt you. That's kind of true in the world. And if you're doing it yourself, you might miss something. And the final one is it's not necessarily built to grow your business. It's there to be a billboard. It's there to be reactive, not proactive, in helping you grow your overall company. Now, when we look at pricing for this, DIY project is typically between $1,000 and $3,000, depending on photos, content creation, the content management system you're using, a variety of things like that. To look at the freelance market, this is for small businesses with revenue because you do have to spend money to work with a freelancer. Simple e-commerce is another play with this too. And then still limited technological functionality, right? So we're not getting too far out there in customization and things like that, but something that's a little bit more simple. What are the goals? Billboard, simple website, nothing too complex. Leverage your existing networks. How do you do that across the board? Potential lead generation when you're going further, depending on the quality of the freelancers you're working with, so on and so forth. You can get some lead generation out of that. Some of the pros that we're going to look at is you get more of a sophisticated design. You're actually working with a designer theoretically to develop out the website. Fewer risks of launch delay. On launch day, when you look at this, because you're working with professionals, theoretically, the website should get launched on launch day. Unfortunately, in our experience, we have run into a number of people that have had freelance nightmare stories that they've done something, they've spent $15,000 or $10,000, and they can't reuse the code because the person's now in Africa and is not answering their phone and won't be back for 3 months. So just something to consider with that. I guess that could go underneath cons. Project management, you have to manage a project. It's your responsibility, particularly if you're managing a designer, a website developer, a content creator, so on and so forth. You have to be in charge of that project management, a longer development timeline with this, and then the hiring process. You have to go through and hire everybody and make sure that everybody gets along. The final thing with this is the price is typically between $2,000 and $12,000. That's what you're roughly looking at. If you work with an agency, this is, businesses that have revenue and have a budget are typically the ones that work with revenue. This is primarily because agencies are more expensive, and that's just how it kind of works. Advanced e-commerce companies is the area that you're looking at with this. Goals are business growth. They're focusing on growing their business. Lead generation's another thing that we understand when we come to an agency and start working with them. It's one of the goals that our clients typically focus on is best digital practices, lead generation, business growth. If you're investing this time and this money into a website, it should probably propel your business forward, and a good agency will actually focus on that. Credibility and thought leadership, that's also something that we see across the board, is how do you present yourself as more credible? You're much more likely to close deals if somebody comes to your website and understands that you've done this hundreds of times before and you've really minimized the risk factor for them. And website design can really help you do that. Some of the pros of working with the agency is it's the best chance for a reputation for your brand. By working with professionals who've done this a number of times, hundreds of times, it's the best chance for your brand to really have that credibility. Expertise, agencies that are worth their credibility cues are typically experts in their field and know what they're doing. Customization, if you need more customization, an agency can typically help with you. And then ideally, return on investment. A quick pro tip here is if you're working with an agency or thinking about working with an agency, ask them how they measure return on investment for you. Because if they're not looking at that, you're probably dealing with the wrong agency. Cons, it's going to cost more. This is by far the highest, most expensive of the three ways to go about website design and development, but theoretically you're getting the most bang for the buck out of it too. Price on this is more like $15,000 to about $40,000. But if you work with a company that measures that opportunity and looks at the return on investment, you should be making your money back, if not 3 times more money back. So some post-launch considerations. What do you do once you've launched a website? Look at how people are using your website after launch. Unfortunately, we see a lot of times that people launch a website and then leave it alone, not look at it. So there's a component there that you want to look at. Are you seeing a lift in search and optimization for your site and after launch? If this isn't set up correctly by the people who relaunch your website, you can actually lose a lot of organic search position and your business can go down. So that's something you really want to consider. Have your leads increased? Are you getting more people contacting you through your website? And then, are you doing anything for search engine marketing? Is anybody helping you with SEO, pay-per-click, Facebook, LinkedIn, all these type of things and ads, conversion optimization? Are you focusing on that in order to really grow your business online? Some additional resources. I want to, thank you for taking the time to listen to me and have this conversation. At Nuanced, we've actually put together a website cost calculator that you can easily find by going to by Googling Nuanced Media website cost calculator. It's the #1 result for that. So if you're looking to get a better estimate of what your website will cost through a traditional development process, you can go there and fill out that information. We also have a website blog up that kind of talks about different best practices, things to consider, what their website redesign process looks like. Highly recommend that you go visit that. And then finally, if you have any questions or concerns or just anything in general, please just comment below this video and I'll be sure to maintain and keep up to date with that and respond to comments. Okay, I hope you have a great day. Thank you.